Today, we're going to get into a really tragic story, and it's one that serves as a powerful case study for this idea of character maintenance. All the effort we put in just to preserve our identity. We're going to explore what it takes to build a character, what happens when that character is pushed to its absolute limit, and the terrifying cost when it finally collapses. Okay, let's just dive right into the heart of this thing. This one sentence, this is actually where our story ends. It's a dark, chilling thought, isn't it? And to really understand how we get to this point, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. So, Act 1, the ultimate investment. This is where it all starts. It's where we see the foundation of our entire character being built. And that identity, it wasn't founded on her personality, but on pure, raw sacrifice. People said she was the most beautiful woman on her street, but it was so much more than that. It was her energy, right? Her laughter. This kindness. It wasn't just a part of who she was. It was a core piece of the character she was building for the future she was so sure she'd have with him. And this character she was building, it had a physical foundation. She owned a small salon. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was hers. She built it from the ground up, and it was a real, tangible symbol of her hard work, and the very thing that was going to fund their shared dream. Now, this is what's really interesting. You can see right here what she put in. This wasn't just, emotional support. She poured everything into him. Her savings, her struggle, her sweat, and maybe most importantly, her belief. This was a total investment of her entire being. This was the raw material for the character she was creating. And this was the promise that fueled everything. These exact words, "I'll change everything for us." Well, they became the cornerstone of their future. It was the blueprint she was following, the thing that justified all her sacrifice and helped her maintain that character of the supportive, all-in partner. So that brings us to Act 2, the fading promise. And this is where we start to see her character get put under some serious pressure, as the reality of the situation starts to drift away from the promise she'd built her whole life around. And this timeline just shows the slow decay so perfectly. It starts out great, right? Constant communication, nightly calls. But then, over the years, it starts to degrade. The messages get shorter. And then their main connection becomes this passive, public thing, social media posts. So what were in these posts? A whole new life. A life filled with luxury, big smiles, and another woman. This wasn't just a picture. It was a direct contradiction to the future he'd promised her, and it was being broadcast for the entire world to see. But even with all that, he'd still fall back on the original promise. "I'm doing this for us." You can just feel the gap widening here between what he's saying and what he's doing. The promise wasn't a goal anymore. It was a shield to hide his deception. So finally, she confronts him. She asks the direct question, "Who is she?" And his answer, it's this casual, dismissive lie, "Just a friend."
Lie.
It's a phrase that's basically designed to shut down the conversation, right? To just calm her down enough so he could keep living this double life. And here's the crucial point. She chose to believe him. Why? Well, because what was the alternative? To doubt him now would mean admitting that her entire investment, her time, her money, her very identity, was all for nothing. Trusting him, it became this desperate act of character maintenance. And that brings us to Act 3, the wedding crasher. This is the moment the pressure just becomes too much. The lie gets too big, and that character she fought so hard to maintain finally and completely shatters. It all came down to one single unexpected message. You know the kind. It shows up on a totally normal morning and just detonates your entire world. This was the final, undeniable proof. So what was in it? A wedding flyer. His name right there next to the other woman's name. And the date? Today. The location? A hall not far from her salon. The betrayal wasn't just happening behind her back. It was brazen, disrespectful. It was happening right in her neighborhood. Her reaction here is, well, it's fascinating, and it's absolutely terrifying. There was no crying, no screaming, just this cold, methodical series of actions. She dressed up, she made herself beautiful, and then she went to the wedding. That's not the response of a heartbroken woman. That's the calm of a character that is already broken and is now transforming into something else entirely. The final trigger was seeing him up there at the altar, smiling, acting like she and her years of sacrifice never even happened. And that's when it happened. Something inside her broke, not with a bang, but completely. The old character was just gone. And now we're at the final act, a debt repaid in blood. We're about to see the violent expression of a character that has been forever changed by betrayal. She walked through that happy wedding hall, like a ghost from a life he tried to just erase. And then she called his name, and when he turned, when their eyes met, in that one single moment, he knew. He understood what he had done, but it was way, way too late. What happened next was fast, and it was shocking. She rushed toward him and she pulled out a knife. This is the moment. The transformation is complete. The character that was built on sacrifice and hope is now gone, replaced by one driven by a cold, violent sense of justice. The act itself was just brutal. Final. Once, twice, and again. The repetition really drives home how cold and detached the violence was. This wasn't some crime of passion in the heat of the moment. No, this was calculated. It was deliberate. And as they dragged her away, she said these terrifying words. "I didn't kill him. I just ended the life I paid for." That's not a plea of innocence. That is the horrifying logic of her new, shattered character. In her mind, she wasn't a murderer. She was just a creditor collecting on a debt that was paid for with her entire life. And all of this leaves us with this really unsettling question, doesn't it? About the limits of our own character. When does sacrifice become an investment so complete that when it's betrayed, it doesn't just break a heart, but it shatters a character so completely that it awakens a monster in its place? It's a chilling thought to end on.